Hello, my English 200 people. Long time no video. So I wanted to start this week off by saying thank you for your patience with me over the last few weeks. I am slowly getting caught up, as you saw in my email I sent out last night, hopefully. Just getting sick really threw me for a loop last week. So, if any of you get sick in the next few weeks, I'll completely understand where you're coming from. So a few things to catch up on in this video, as far as discussing some past assignments. I'm not going to go back to last week and discuss that. You'll get my feedback in the grades, which are slowly coming back up on La Lima. But I'll just briefly touch on the blog response from last week, which I did get a chance to skim through most of your responses, and was very pleased with some of your thinking there. So last week's blog asked us to kind of close out Plantation Boy by thinking of how it links back to the first book that we read, Ragged Dick. And so a lot of you were making some connections with things like audience and purpose, which is what we talked about in our first essays. And really great discussions there as far as how the two stories were written in very different time periods for very different audiences and for different purposes, which greatly affected how they were written and their discussion of the American dream. So a lot of us are also thinking forward to possibly our last essay, where we might discuss whether we think the American dream is real or a myth. And so a lot of the discussions were centering around the idea of Ragged Dick being a very simplistic story, was written for young boys, so couldn't get too complicated, too nitty-gritty, or wouldn't have their interest. Therefore, it was a very simple story and a very, I think a lot of you were trying to get at the idea, it's very unrealistic, right? There was a very smooth path for Dick from good things. He had a difficult life, then one good thing happened and it just snowballed until he was able to make his way out. And then in Plantation Boy, things were very different. We had a different time period. Things were, with the time period and with the audience, trying to reach a local audience in a more, I don't know how to say this other than more developed, I guess, audience, that it was much more realistic. Toshio's path was not super smooth, right? He didn't find his fairy godfather, Mr. Whitney or whatever, and climb his way out. He had to do everything himself and was faced with a wall almost at every turn. And at the end, we don't get the same kind of happy ending we get in Ragged Dick, where everything seems great and we're sure that Dick is going to do fine. We don't think the same thing for Toshio, where he got his own business, but who knows if he'll make it, because he's a nobody in this business and he needs perhaps the reputation of someone else to build himself off of. So very different from Ragged Dick 2, with the idea of a self-made man. And Plantation Boy, Toshio is a self-made man, but his success had to come on on the backs of other people before him, right? Without his previous boss, he never would have become anything, and may still not become anything. And so I guess that's really what I wanted to touch on for that. It was kind of a blog to just get us to close Plantation Boy, link it back to what we were doing before, and then we're going to move on to a totally different kind of book this week. Your video response was on your other grammar role, so as you're working on your essay revisions, and we'll talk about that in just a second, those rules should be at the back of your mind. So hopefully you watched other people's videos as well as your own, and those are some of the things that I want you to incorporate into your essays as you revise. Speaking of those essays, so last week was the peer review for the second essay, and that means that this week we are working on the revisions, and by Saturday midnight it's going to be due to Laulima. So just a reminder, the Laulima assignment page will say midnight on the 6th or something like that, or 12 a.m. on the 6th. 12 a.m. on the 6th is actually midnight on the 5th. So don't get those dates confused, right? 12 a.m. is actually the first minute of every day. So if 12 a.m. midnight is actually going to be on the 6th. So just to clarify, 12 midnight on the 5th is when this is due. So if you're writing your essay on Saturday, haven't submitted it yet, you have till midnight that night. Okay. The other assignments, so I'm going to talk about the blog response for this week, and then we'll talk about your setting up for your next essay, and I'll explain why we're doing it this way when I get there. We're setting up for the next essay, so your blog response this week is going to be scaffolding for another assignment you'll have due later on, and that's your essay 3 topic proposal. So if you go to the blog page for this week, what I'm asking you to do, let me see here, is to go back to week 8 when we were doing our from topics to questions posting, and you're going to build from that now and actually select what topic you're going to actually write your essay on, and then you're going to be finding your place in this research conversation. So basically you're choosing your topic, and then you are going and doing some preliminary research, so very basic quickie type research to see what has been said about this topic already and what has not. And that what has not been said will be your in as to how to approach your research paper. The idea of a research paper is not to go back or to do research and then report everything that was already said. You're going to do that as part of it, and then you're going to need to build off of it, add something to the conversation. So that's really what the focus of this week's blog is. I'm asking you to choose your topic, go and do some preliminary research, and then choose 2 sources that you find and talk about them in your blog response. Tell us the main ideas, tell us about the author, what's their qualifications and things like that. And then you're going to figure out where you fit into the conversation. So basically answering what are some big questions, or what is the big question that your people have not talked about in your topic. So I give you an example on the blog page. I say you might find a lot of research on the American dream in politics, which might be a popular topic since we are a week away from the election next week. So the American dream in politics should have a lot of research, likely all the way through Obama's last presidential election win, but you're likely not going to find a lot on the topic as far as the recent political campaigns of Trump and Hillary Clinton. So that would be a great in if that was a topic you were interested in looking at, is just bringing in the recent events to the past conversation. And a lot of topics can work that way, where maybe there's a part that is so new no one's talked about it yet, so you can use that as your entrance into the conversation. And then the nice thing about this blog response is that because it's setting us up for another assignment, you have already completed part of it if you complete the blog response. So that other assignment is your topic proposal for the last essay. So this last essay, because it's such a big project, we're going to try to break it up into parts to make life a little easier. So this week we're working on the first part. That's the topic proposal. And then we'll be moving on to the annotated bibliography, where you do your research and you find some sources that hopefully will be good ones for your actual writing. Then we'll have our rough draft, and I will conference with each one of you between the annotated bibliography and the rough draft, and then we'll have the final. Okay, so we're breaking it up into 4 parts to hopefully alleviate some of the stress here. So the first assignment then is this week's topic proposal. So what we're doing with that, the link is on the week 11 schedule. So there's a link that's on La Lima. It goes straight there if you click it. So the topic proposal is a 1 to 2 page double-spaced topic proposal. It's going to be due on Sunday, so November 6th at midnight. You submit it to La Lima. And what you're doing is formally submitting your idea as to what you're going to write about. So this way, no one starts writing their 10-page paper and has me say, this topic isn't really what I was looking for, you're going to have to start over. Right? This is going to eliminate that worry. You'll have my approval to move forward before you do move forward. So what I'm asking you for here is, I give you a series of questions you're going to need to answer. So the first thing you're going to do in this thing is tell me what your topic is, right? The basic, what are you writing about? And then you're going to tell me why you're interested in this topic. So this is a really crucial part for a long essay like this. If you write about something that you don't care a piece of crap about, it's going to be pretty evident and make for not so much fun reading for me, not so much fun writing for you. So the topic is wide open here. American dream and something. Choose whatever you want that you can relate to the American dream, but have it be something that you have a desire to talk about. So what's your topic? Why are you interested in your topic? And what do you already know about your topic? This is where the blog response comes in. So part of that one says, perform some preliminary research on your topic to see what has already been said and areas where more investigation can be done. That's exactly what you're doing in your blog post. So if you do your blog before you do your topic proposal, you're already answering the 3rd bullet point on the proposal assignment. And then you're going to answer, what do you want to know about your topic? You can articulate your working thesis statement here. And by working thesis, I mean the thesis that may or may not be what you end up with by the end of writing your paper. Right? So working anything, working title, working introduction means it's like there as a placeholder. It serves a function, but it's not, you're not expecting it to stay that way forever. Okay? And then next would be answering the question of what is the intended goal or purpose of your research in this topic? What are you trying to do by researching this topic? Persuade, inform. This would likely be the third part of that 3-part research question, with the I am researching or writing about this in order to do this, to help my reader do this. This is the help your reader do what. Between that and the next question is, why is your research in this topic important? Why is it significant? It's that so what question. Do your best shot in getting through this part. Likely it will evolve as you write. And then the last part, what kinds of research do you plan to do, and or what supporting materials will you draw on for the paper? You don't have to be specific, but if you find some good sources, you can mention them here. If you find some things but don't know if they're going to be worth using, you can mention like, well, this is a recent topic, so I'm going to have to do a lot of internet research. Books will not help me very much here except to establish a baseline context. Or if it's a topic you imagine you might want to do a survey for, you can mention I'm planning to do a survey of this age group and ask these kinds of questions. Or if you're going to do an interview, right? An interview would be a source that you can use in this kind of a paper, especially if you're going to do something that's like local history related. You can cite an interview. And if you need help in doing that, you should be able to find it on the Purdue OWL website, but if not, ask me and I'd be glad to tell you how. It's actually one of the simpler citations. It's just not used very much. Okay, so on the topic proposal assignment sheet, you'll also find a sample proposal. So I tell you what they're writing about, and then you see their topic proposal. The thing with topic proposals is, even though it's just a here's what I plan to write about, it's still a very formal type of response. It would have like an introduction and body paragraphs that are answering the key points. So look over the sample and it will give you an idea of what I'm looking for. It's not just a bullet points answering the questions thing. It's a formal written proposal. Okay, so if you have questions on that, please do let me know. Reminder again, you have till Sunday for this one. I give you the extra day so you can get the blog response done and then go ahead and post your topic proposal afterwards. Alright, so blog response builds you to the topic proposal, and then your video response this week is going to get us into Fast Food Nation. And the best way to do that is to think about our own experiences with fast food. So in your video response this week, I'm kind of asking you to do some walking down memory lane type stuff. So I ask you to first remember a time when you were a child and ate at a fast food restaurant. Where was it? Why were you there? How old were you? Who was with you? Try to remember as much as you can and share as many details as you can. You can even talk about like McDonald's cups if you want to. I was listening to the radio this morning about McDonald's has a Christmas cup in Hawaii that's going to have all these Hawaiian words and stuff on it. And I just thought it was kind of interesting how people are excited about McDonald's cups. I mean, I use them and throw them away, you know. Anyway, so reflecting on your fast food experiences as a child, or one specific fast food experience. And then I ask you as a transitioning question, was eating at a fast food restaurant or eating fast food in general a normal part of your childhood? Did you do it all the time? Or was it something that was very rare? Like you only went to McDonald's once every 6 months or once a year? And then do you think this has changed with younger generations? Has it become more frequent, less frequent, some mixture of both? And then after you do this reflecting, thinking about what I'm having you read in Fast Food Nation this week is the first 4 chapters. So it's broken up into sections, and then for this week I'm just having us read the first section. So it's the first 4 chapters. And it starts off with an introduction where Eric Schlosser is talking about Fast Food Nation having created such a great change in American society that he calls it a cultural revolution. So looking at that argument, how does he develop it in the book's introduction and the first 4 chapters that you read? So the big question, what has fast food revolutionized? What has it changed? Reference specific places in the reading that explain this revolution or sweeping change, and then tell me if you agree or disagree with Schlosser's argument. Do you see fast food as having changed our society that much, or did something else, has society changed fast food, or what has occurred, right? There's a symbiotic relationship, I think, going on there, but what do you think? Okay? So, trying to keep my check-in video a little shorter this week. Again, assignments, first essay, all that stuff is coming back. I'm aiming for the end of this week. I really, really, really appreciate your patience. Thank you for not emailing me in a panic. If you've been doing your weekly assignments, submitting your essays, then you really shouldn't have a big worry. I will say that I think it was a couple weeks ago, I sent out notices to anyone who wasn't doing well. So if you didn't get one of those notices, then take a deep breath because you're doing fine. Alright, so that's it for this week. Again, we got a lot going on. So your regular weekly assignments, your essay 2 due on Saturday, and topic proposal due on Sunday. things are going to start really picking up over the next few weeks as we approach the ending of the semester. So hold on tight. It's going to be a quick and hopefully fun ride. So I will see you all in next week's video, and do contact me if you have questions about any of this week's assignments. Have a great rest of your week.